Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to SRW TV. Tonight, it's the 10th and final round of our American Invasion series for the V8 Radical machine. It's Cowie, your average sim racer here, together with Chef Toddy on comms.
Much love, legends.
And Nathan Shibby Howard behind the scenes looking after the cameras on tonight's action. So a 350-mile journey has brought the cars and teams to the final track of the season, Road America, where the open spaces will be a welcome change from the concrete jungle of Belle Isle last week. I'm sure the guys are going to enjoy a bit of grass runoff. Toddy, we'll see if they have to use it tonight, buddy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an interesting one, hey, because the air temperature is only 26 degrees, but the track temperature is 32, so it's going to be pretty moderate on these tyres, I reckon. I think these guys might get some serious pace in these tyres tonight. I'm picking we definitely might break the 2-minute mark in qualifying even, which is pretty crazy.
I think we've seen a couple of the guys get under that in the practice session that just happened. The guys have been out on track for about 30 minutes now, just getting a handle on these machines.
Let the cat out of the bag too hard.
Yeah, well, look, it looks like we've got a small field for the finale tonight, but we know that these guys have been racing them hard, and it's been such a fun car to race and talk about as well, buddy.
Yeah, it has been, most definitely, and coming towards the end of the season, with the drop rounds that all come out of the wash once we finish this drop round. We got Scotty Callahan and Dean Sinkovich that possibly can use tonight as a drop round. The rest of the field has already used their drop round, so making it very interesting. Scotty seems to be a little bit ahead.
Yeah, he has a 141-point lead over Nathan Verney from Locked On Lads. It's interesting that David Unger still holds on to P3 in the championship, but it does look like that Dave has been unable to sort out his wheel issues. Yeah, I can see he's on the chat there. Good evening, John and Bluesman. But yeah, sorry to see you're not here with us, Dave. But to this round, mate, you're still sitting in P3 in the championship, so that's how consistent you were earlier, but it's only now that your drop rounds are counting because you haven't been here.
Yeah, 100%. It must have been a pretty catastrophic failure of his wheel then. He did say that he saw broken wires, etc., didn't he? So
yeah, he did. Yep, still out of action, he's saying. Yeah, that's a shocker, man. I feel for you. Mine's going to have to go back to Estonia, I think it is, Granite Devices, or it's going to go back to the UK or something. So,
has it already been back once? Oh no, you got a new power supply set.
Yeah, I got the power supplies set. That's right, our power supplies play up. They replace them, but it's just the cable, the e-stop cable, and I think it's the little socket in the back is loose, and it means that every now and again I lose force feedback.
Mid-race. So you go from like all the...
Last night. Yeah, but these things happen, so... But at least I can still race on mine, whereas unfortunately Dave's completely out of action with wires sticking out everywhere. All right, well, we have had the cars out on track only for a couple of minutes, so still waiting for these boys to put some times down. But yeah, it is going to be interesting. Scott Callahan has been our resident alien in the Radical machines, these V8 cars, two 1300cc engines slapped together from motorbikes. Effectively, they're all Hayabusa engines, aren't they, in these things?
Yeah, Hayabusa engines. That's just insane.
Yeah, so screaming machines anyway, and then you just slap two of them together and put them in a car that weighs about 700 kilos and launch it, to orbit if you can. Dave's saying there. It's going to get parts from Finland. Yeah, I hear you, buddy.
Wow, parts from Finland. Wow, and we know how bad shipping and stuff is at the moment, guys. So.
Well, everything's expensive, man. It takes time. I mean, once my wheelbase goes back, I don't know how long I'll be out of action. Yeah. But these things, we can't do. I suppose it's technology. It's the same if in real world. When you your car breaks down.
Exactly right. Once you have some, if a turbo blows, it turbo blows, doesn't it? If your steering wheel rips off your car, then your steering wheel rips off your car. Same, right?
Well, normally in the game you can also, in the simulation I should say, get away from that Hebrew G word. The simulation, you can hit escape and go back if you play it into the wall and generally start with a new car. during the race, the guys do have one fast repair available to them tonight, so that's their get out of jail free. But the last thing you want to be doing is using that nice and early in the race, because we've seen time and time again, Toddy, that you can push these cars just a little bit too hard and the rear goes, and you know, you're in a spin and you don't have any control.
And honestly, yeah, I 100% agree. And wow, that leads me on to my next thing I really wanted to talk about. Turn 5. As you're coming up over the hill, you kind of have to brake slightly just before the crest of the hill. As you come up through the moraine sweep. Turn 5, you come over under that little banner there, and you need to get a hard left. And you have to brake just before the crest of the hill, but you have to be off the brakes as you come over the crest of the hill, and then kind of feather on the throttle and then back onto it.
These things would be floating over there. Yeah, look, it's very similar in the V8. You actually brake in the uphill, the V8.
Yeah. So if you don't get that quite right, and you don't get the braking point right, and you don't get the exit point quite right, it's very, you can spin it and you can turn that thing around really, really
you're talking about this
easily.
corner right here as the guys come up here, because effectively you're loading the car and it floats. So you want to have enough brake to sort of keep the nose down so that you can turn in, but you don't want to snatch a brake there, because you know it's just going to throw the rear of the car around it.
And you don't want to go too wide on that corner as well, because just on the outside, yes, there's a bit of runoff, but on the outside of there's a bit of grass and a bit of sand. If you go a little bit too much and you push your track limit, it will spin back into your car. So
the driver list should be coming up, John, as we go, just as they start to set times and do laps, I think. Just SDK waiting for the guys to actually get out there on track. One thing, when we were looking at those pictures before, and we might, Shibby, if you can see if you can find any cars that are on the back of the carousel, we do have the track map up. So who's car 20 going around the back of the carousel?
So it's got a Callahan going around the carousel right now as you speak?
Yeah. So, you know, if that is going to be interesting, because I reckon that's a corner that these Radical V8s are going to eat for breakfast. So, you know, whereas the V8 supercar and I know your GT cars, you're sort of feathering the accelerator through that section to try and sort of stay tight. Whereas I reckon these things you're going to be able to really throw it wide and give it some, as they're going to stick to the road through that fast sweeping carousel. And we might even see sort of multiple lines and some moves getting done there tonight.
Yeah, and it is quite a wide track, so you've got two really nice kind of race lines and a few really nice passing places, but places like right here seem like a good passing spot, but not so much. And especially you might see some guys taking some moves up through the banner, through up the end of Moraine Straight sweep there. So it'll be interesting. See where these guys actually
heavy braking zones and long straights, and we've seen that the aero, the draft, the toe, that seems to be a factor each and every week. And we've seen, you know, these cars need to get like 1.6 seconds ahead before you sort of finally are breaking that toe.
Yeah.
So it does seem to, you know, help keep the action together and keep it bunched together, because you've got that toe. And I mean, I suppose Formula One have got a DRS for the same thing. These things don't need it, mate. It's just get them bunching and fighting together, and we should have some great action tonight.
Yeah. They've got some. It's got some nice, really sort of rolling straights and rolling sort of parts. You can get some good top speeds, but also some hard braking zones and some pretty technical sections that hopefully these guys remember that it's cold tyres on lap 1, eh, Cowie?
Well, look, it's a race car driver's track, so it actually started, you know, as an open road ad hoc sort of race. So, you know, these were sort of, you know, roads out there, and they started racing it. And then effectively the authorities came in, thought we better start regulating this, and turned it into a track. So that's cool. You know, so it has its origins, I suppose, with the purest of intentions of people just getting out there and racing on the roads, and you know, that's where it all started.
And probably started with moonshine running as well, eh?
Oh, look, I suppose that has a big history of NASCAR and that over in the States, I think. Well. You know, they can trace their roots back to that sort of stuff. Not so much sure about the more open wheel racing, but
Just,
There's been lots of
racetracks
great,
in general, right?
well, there's been lots of great categories out of the US, and lots of categories that still race in the sort of smaller leagues to this day. So much like the Radical here. Thought it was awesome that we got to see them. I think it was at Adelaide when they were racing on the same banner as the V8 supercars. So you got to see that camera on board of the real Radical, and the iRacing one has just got it down to a complete T.
Yeah. And they sound bananas. That'd be so much fun to drive one in real life, I reckon. I'm not sure I could drive it as fast as these boys, but I reckon it'd be scary and it'd just be one of those things you'd never forget if you survived it.
I think it's sort of got to be one of those cars where you would really feel the speed in it. Like when you're driving your road car, and anyone that's owned a little car. So I think when I was in my mid-20s, I had a little laser, with sort of mags on it and lowered and that sort of stuff. There's a big record. Count the number of spins there. We might put a bet on how many spins that were before we look back at the replay.
I think it was
about 8 there, I reckon. 5?
I reckon 5, yep.
I reckon he got 8.
You reckon? Wow.
Here we go. Shibby's going to prove it. You haven't said a number, Shibby. Quick, number? 5? No, you can't say 5.
I've already got 5.
6. Okay. 5, 6, and 8. There we go. We put Shibby on the spot. There we go.
Okay.
All right, so count them.
1, 2, 3, 4,
2,
5, 6.
It's going to make 4, maybe.
Oh, that looks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's either 5 or 6.
Oh, I reckon there's only 3 or 4 there, but we're not going to argue about it. We've got action on track. We'll have to leave that out there. Maybe. What did you guys see? Let us know in the chat there. Of course, big thanks to our major sponsor, DSL Welding Services. We'll have to see if the promo department safety car comes out tonight. I think when the other cars raced here round 1, there wasn't a safety car at Road America at all, I think. It was the track that avoided, I think. Didn't we? Wasn't it the first week of SRW this season?
Yeah, it was actually.
Was almost sort of no safety cars. I think there was 1.
Yeah, it was, yeah.
So
it went downhill very quickly from there, but it got more interesting from there, I should say. Hey, Gowie.
Oh, look. So John's telling us to come down and drive a supercar, 250 supercar, be quicker than a Radical at Phillip Island. I wouldn't doubt that, mate. I've seen some of those karts in action, and they are ridiculous.
That is insane. And Jaden Darling, we've got in race control in the safety car today, so thank you very much, Jaden.
Yep, that's right. And it's good to have 24/7 on board with us. They've been our race control all season. Hopefully they've been consistent enough for the boys. I know I've fallen afoul of them a couple of times, but I've just taken my rap on the knuckles and, survived to drive the next week. So these things happen.
Yeah, you just cop it on the chin and move on, don't you?
Well, look, you see things differently when you're in the car, right? So, they've got the advantage of being able to look at it multiple angles. They do have the pressure of trying to adjudicate it there and then. I won't take that away because in the heat of the moment, you look at things certain ways, and we're all different, so people see things differently. But in the end, you have that independent steward so that it happens, fine, move on. Next week, you can always put in a request for a review ticket and talk to race control, and they'll get someone independent in to look at it, independent of them as well. So it's about as fair as we can make it. We all know that people aren't going to see eye to eye all the time, but it is racing, and there's a sheep station on every position, I reckon.
Yeah, I reckon too. But I think just talking from racing experience and stuff like that, it definitely it's one of those things you kind of, as a driver, you can't, even if you do make a protest and stuff like that, through the little time that I have spent, I've kind of realised and learnt that you can't dwell on it between week to week. You just need to kind of move on with it, and the more you kind of dwell on it, the worse you kind of get.
Put it in the back of your memory and.
Yeah, just move on and just start practicing for the next week, And that's the thing. As long as you do that, and you can kind of go, oh, yeah, cool, that's last week. Let's move on to this week's and practice and move on with it. And, I find
we
it,
all
like,
make
you kinda find
mistakes,
it,
man.
yeah,
Look,
exactly.
yeah,
Right.
people make mistakes. As long as you learn
You've got to
from
be
them,
easy on
then
yourself, I suppose. Eh?
it's not so much being easy. I mean, you can be as harsh as you want on yourself, but it's all about trying to learn from the mistakes. So,
Yeah,
there will
true.
be guys that'll analyse it and go, well, hang on, what about this and this happened and he did this and I did this and blah, blah, blah. But, I think in the end, you try to be constructive about it. Sometimes we'll see something in an incident that race control didn't see or we didn't see, that someone else doesn't see. We see it a certain way, but I think to quote Neil deGrasse Tyson, the astrophysicist, we are all basically blinded by our biases.
Oh,
Doesn't
100%. And
matter,
perception is reality, mate.
exactly. It's all about
Yeah.
perception, and perception is influenced by your bias.
Yeah,
John
100%.
C out there just saying that they do have the nationals for the supercarts first weekend in August. You put us up in the chat, let us know where it is, buddy, because we've got Kiwis, we've got Australians, hopefully we've got some expats watching, but again, depends on the times out there, but it's a pretty broad viewer base, we'd like to think, and we've got plenty of drivers that are, involved in other sort of parts of our leagues and series here at SRW, and we thank them for their support as well. At
Just
Phillip
on a
Island,
side
okay,
note.
cool, man.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
No, John's saying it's at Phillip Island, so yeah, that sounds pretty mad, man. Go-karts at Phillip Island in August.
That's crazy.
Wouldn't be getting warm yet then, man. It'd still be bloody cold down there, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it still has, it wouldn't be the hottest track temperature, would it?
No, I wouldn't be thinking so.
And the winds as well. You'd have some serious tailwinds and crosswinds as well. Because it swells around there, and because it's on that kind of peninsula on the side of the island as well, you kind of get crosswinds, tailwinds, headwinds coming into corners and stuff. So it makes it very interesting. And in a go-kart, I reckon it'd be pretty hairy. So.
Oh, hell yeah, John agrees with you there. We've got the points coming up for the current series standings. So this has been adjusted for all of the drop rounds. So as Toddy was saying earlier, I think it's Dean Sinkovich that still has a drop round available to him where he can drop a bad performance for a good one. Yep, so he may be in a position to make a move, whereas he's sitting in P5 at the moment. Yep. Matty Jones, I don't think Matty Jones is with us tonight. No, so
not, unfortunately.
That P3 and P4, Dave Unger and Matty Jones are not here to defend their positions. So that's going to give Dean a chance. A great performance to not keep jumping to P3, buddy.
Oh, mate, look at that. SRW, boy. Oh, Mr. Dino might do the Bradbury into the podium at the end of the season. This could be really awesome. I'd be super excited if he does.
Well, Nathan Burney, I know Nathan's had an up and down series and probably has benefited with a P2 in the championship because of Dave's wheelbase issues. But he'll be looking for another consistent performance tonight because I know he's had a couple of ordinary ones, so his drop rounds are used up.
Do you reckon the locked-on lads, boys, were just praying to the sim gods? Just like, please, something go wrong.
I don't think so. You want to win these things on merit.
Yeah, you do.
Most people.
And it does suck when it happens like that. And you're like, oh man, we're having such good battles, and then that happens, to somebody in the series. And,
It's one of those things that some of the best athletes in the world, talk about. The ones that have sort of, had an injury and been beaten, or, and the person that's beaten them with the injury doesn't. Can lose confidence because he didn't get to race against him at his peak, You take advantage of it and maybe take the W at the time, but how does that affect your, your persona, I suppose, and your confidence?
Yeah, 100%,
you always doubt it, So we always want to, I think that's the great thing about iRacing is that the way, generally for the officials, at least for the V8s, the iRating seems to be fairly comparable. And they're trying to sort of match people of various skills. In leagues, it's a bit more expanded, but as I've said before, you always find those guys that you can battle with week in and week out, and you get to know each other, you get to trust each other, more importantly, on track. And the moment that you start to trust the drivers around you, then you can race closer and harder and know that they're not going to make a silly mistake and take you out,
Yeah, And it's easier then to have confidence in your laps as well. But Adam Hughes there with a great bloody lap there as well. He's just done our fastest lap. And then Nathan Verney, actually, I was just noticing on screen, Nathan Verney for the last lap, in the first 2 sectors, he had purples for the first 2 sectors and then a green. And then he must have had a bit of a moment in the last 2 sectors of the lap, and he scraped in there with just over 2 minutes there, and 2 minutes 0.86. And not close to these guys, so he's still 6/10 outside of Adam Hughes and Stephen Callahan. Stephen Callahan there with 200s? 200s? Not even that apart.
Yeah, it's pretty close there, buddy, at the moment. So, and those guys are so close to breaking that 2-minute barrier that you spoke about. Scott Callahan, who a resident alien, who probably would break that. He is going to try and start from the rear of the grid again, I believe. So he's looking to try and fight his way through the field. Now, John C. was asking about the point systems out there, so I'm just having a look at that. So for the race win, it's 150 points. Second is 144, so it basically drops by 6 points. Pretty much all the way down, buddy. Yep, 6 points going right down to 6 points for the final position, 27. So, I mean, you think about it this way, we've got 7 or 8 cars out there, so even the last place getter is still going to get 100 points. So the difference between 10th in tonight's race and first is 54 points. So you're not going to see any massive moves on the table.
So what does Dino need to make up then? If Dino can...
Well, Dino needs to he needs 90 points to get ahead. 84 points, I think it is, to get ahead of Dave Unger. Now, the difference is Dave Unger and Matty Jones effectively score 0 because they're not here.
Yep.
Right?
I reckon Dean might be able to make it as long as Dean can...
Yeah, so therefore you look at that, Dean needs to finish.
We've got 8 in the race tonight, so he'll still make it even if he finishes last, right? He'll make it into a
P8 maybe. Right? We could probably do the math. But the other thing is he has a drop round still available to him, but that might still have some points associated with it too.
Yeah, okay.
Right, so...
I'll just do some math quickly.
Tyson McAvoy is only 36 points behind Dean. So if there is a big disparity between Tyson and Dean, he could well and truly jump. But again, as we said, I think as long as Dean finishes probably in the top 4 or 5, that drop round should almost give him, be able to take P3. Tyson, who came into the series late, has made a great charge. Stephen Callahan is 30 points behind Tyson, so there's a possible battle there. And Leon Williams is only 6 points behind Stephen Callahan. Right, so those guys would be probably fighting for P5 if we take Verney and Unger out.
Okay, so Dino needs 100. Essentially, he'll get 102 points if he finishes last in 8th. So that's Dean. And then if Tyson can beat him with that points gap, Tyson needs to beat him by
I think you're right there, buddy. So I think it's really going to be between Dean and Tyson McAvoy tonight. Tyson, who managed to pick up a race win last week, I think he might have tricked Scotty Callahan into thinking that he still had to pit, but he had enough fuel to get to the end because of all those safety cars we had at Belle Isle. He was able to get the car to the end and get the job done. So that was a great call from Harry Dodds, who was spotting for him, and a bit of a shout out to both the boys there. But yeah, look, we've got about a minute to go here, mate, so the times are starting to heat up. Nathan Verney, the first of the drivers to get into the 59, so Nathan Verney, the 159.85, and then Adam Hughes with a 159.92. Where's Hughesy come? He's got maybe a free pass to jump in tonight on a free night. Not commentating.
And Nathan Verney,
just a little fly in the ointment with Adam Hughes jumping in.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive, Nathan Verney breaking that 2-minute mark. He's definitely seen some fast improvement, but he always qualifies well. It's just hopefully he can keep out of the trouble tonight.
I think Nathan's one of those guys that can drive the thing fast. And
Yeah, and he's always
again,
pushing.
I think he's the guy that gets it to the limit there where he doesn't know if pushing a little bit more is going to kill the car or not.
Yeah.
And, you know, you get moments where if you're sending it everywhere, you know, eventually one of those moments it starts to go. And these seem to be a car that once you lose stability in the rear,
Yeah, you're just a
they can be
passenger.
very difficult. And you,
Yeah, like that.
it's
Right
almost
there.
counterintuitive.
Perfectly moment.
You can't power out of it. Well, you can see there, he tried to power out of it.
Yeah.
You can't power out of a slide like that. You've almost
No,
got to drop
it's not
right
the sort
off
of
and
thing,
ride
yeah.
it out.
Yeah, it's not the
And
sort of car that'll benefit from that. Like say, you know, GT4s, things like that. You know, you can you put some gas
what's
into
the
it, and
weight
then it'll hook
transfer?
up. You know, yeah, but yeah,
It's the weight transfer. The fact you've got a bit more weight in the car, you can transfer it. These things weigh bugger all.
yeah.
So there's not a
Once
lot
it's
of weight
going somewhere,
transfer
it's
there.
going there. Yeah.
You know, and you know, if it's because it's hard to get the traction down in, and but you know, once you lose that rear, it's you almost like you just to try and ride it out and not apply too much throttle, apply less, and arrest the slide before you can then drive out of it.
I think
But
we
then
might see
again-
some moves coming down this hill here on this run down the hill here. I think we might see some big moves down here, but it's always a risky
one of
move.
the-
Whenever I've raced this track, people always try to dive bomb you on that. Maybe it's just the caliber of people I've raced against. I know we won't see that tonight, but it's definitely one of those spots that we'll probably see people try to take people late under braking. What do you reckon?
And the problem is if you go too deep into snatch a brake, that's when you start sliding. You've got no control, and we know that race control is very much, you know, the first question they'll ask is, okay, you know,
Was that a
were
safe
you
move?
in control of the car at the time of the incident? And if the answer is no, then generally you're going to cop a penalty. So, but
exactly
yeah, look, it's a bravery under brakes. It's one of the things about these cars is you can stamp on them hard, you can throw them in hard, and they stick. And much like the F3, it's a car of confidence. If you trust it, it'll reap rewards in lap time. But it's finding where the edge of that trust is that I struggle with. And I know, you know, Nathan Verney's probably one of those guys that's felt it as well from time to time.
Yeah, and Adam Hughes there, just at the end of qualifying here, guys. Just
Just a
Adam
little
Hughes
burnout.
just showing off for us in the Mobile 1 car there, just doing a couple of doughies. But Nathan Verney with a very impressive lap there, but only been just scraping past Adam Hughes there. So these guys
They're
really doing
700ths of a
beautiful
second
jobs.
there. Have we got any cars out on track? I think that's everyone in the
And it's
lane
everybody
now,
off.
isn't it?
Off and
So-
on and ready to grid.
Well, the issue is with this car is, you know, as we said plenty of times before, it takes 2 or 3 laps to get the tyres up to temp.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you can't just jump into the pits and go out and do an out lap and then try a hot lap because you just have no grip on that lap too, that hot lap.
Yeah, especially on this track as well, because you have to. Biggest thing on this track to be fast on this track, you have to be able to somewhat trust your tires, you know, and trust
All
a whole lot
right.
about the car. So
Oh, that's what it is, man. It is very much the fact that these cars, they benefit from trust, but over trust them and you're in big trouble. All right, we have our grid up for tonight's race, the finale of our SR8 Radical V8 Invasion of America, and it is Nathan Verney with Locked On Racing in P1. Adam Hughes, the ring in for Chris Cross, jumping into P2 in his first appearance in the car. Stephen Callahan, P3. Tyson McAvoy, P4. Dean Sinkovic and his brother Stephen. So we've got both Sinkovic boys out there. Which way is the bet going to go tonight? Shibby and Toddy? Have a think. Scotty Callahan in P7, and our Jaden Darling is our race controller. So he's got a spot on the grid. Him and Nathan, I think, have both got spots on the grid so that they can drive the safety car. All right, so we come up to the last minute. So who's going to win the Stinkovich War tonight? Dean needs it for
I
the
hope
championship.
Dean, and I'm banking on Dean because Dean might be able to slot himself up into a podium position for the end of the season here. So,
Well, I'm going to back
Hopefully.
Stephen as I normally do to see if he
Okay.
can be a fly in the ointment. I
just
think
want
Nathan
fingers
Verney out
toes
front
crossed.
here. I think we're still waiting on Hughesy to grid up, are we?
Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah, his car's
He's
just
just but taking
disappeared.
a bit of time to get his gloves and his Hans device on, etc., etc.,
Well,
etc.
he's only got about 20 seconds left. He better make the grid, or he's going to start from the pit lane.
Oof, oof.
So, but
Just
Nathan
keeping us
Burney,
in
with a
suspense.
good drive here, can confirm P2 in the championship. I think Scotty Cal from the back there, he'll have a bit of fun tonight. And I think it's going to be pretty hard to catch him. It's 140, 150 points clear. All right, here come the lights. 5 red lights, and we'll get going in our last race for the V8 Radicals in Season 2 here at SRW TV. A great start from Nathan Burney. There's a Tyson McAvoy. Got away good. Was that Stephen Callahan? Just got bogged down a little.
Yeah, maybe
Scotty Callahan's come firing through there, and it's Verney, McAvoy, and Scott Callahan.
Wow,
1, 2, 3.
what a start from Scotty Callahan, man. All the way
Yeah,
from the back up into P3 straight away. But we've, it seems Adam Hughes has been excluded from the race there. It seems like he hasn't gridded up in time, maybe, or something's happened there. Maybe he's had a bit of a glitch.
Yeah, not sure what's happened. Usually maybe he just jumped out to do a bit of qualifying with the boys. Didn't want to get involved in the racing. Stephen Callahan here trying to put the pressure back on Scott. Cold tyres. Got to be careful. Don't go too deep. Try and ask too much of the car too early. Is that steam?
Cold tyres, lap one. Cold tyres, lap one.
Oh, we got a Shivy's trying to tell us of a moment, buddy, have we? Oh, Tyson slowed down and let everyone through. What's happened to Tyson? His car has dropped right back.
Yeah, wow, he's right back. I'm not sure what's happened there. He's
It was 13 seconds.
He's had a bit
There
of
was
a
a big
moment
crash,
there,
they're saying. They're on SDK. Do we want to try and have a look and see what happened to my team boss? What did he
just
do?
under cold tyres, maybe? Oh, no. Is that glitched?
He might.
Do we know if he slowed down for that stop or he just stopped mid-track? Because that's a big difference. Oh, okay. Oh, no, so he was slowing down guys out there, so...
Oh, we have the safety car, Nathan Allen. Yeah, the safety car coming out. So, has he blown an engine or something?
Well, hey.
He has been having issues with his wheel, Tyson told me, and it's been double shifting on him.
Oh, no, so he must have double
so
shifted and blown the
that's
engine.
what's happened, or it's now completely stuffed and it won't shift and he's stuck in no gear.
Oh, that sucks. Wow, hey.
Yeah, okay, that's what he's just saying on the radio. He couldn't shift up or down, so he had to stop. So, well, it will bunch the field back up. That is unfortunate for Tyson, so that's going to end his championship hunt tonight. So that will mean it looks like if Dean Sinkovich can keep the car straight and going, he will take out P3 in our championship tonight.
Woo-hoo.
It's unfortunate that you weren't here to defend that, Dave. But hopefully you get your wheel done and sorted as soon as you can, buddy.
And what wheels he on? Did we find that out? Was it Fanatec? Was it? What? I'm not sure. Couldn't remember. That's right. All good. Yeah, he might let us know.
Okay.
And maybe let us know what the customer service has been like also, just for us, the rest of us in the sim community. Whether it be good or bad to deal with, etc. Always handy.
Well, that's it. You know, I know our team has got a new sponsor, but we have been plugging that a fair bit. So hopefully, I was hoping Tyson to get on the podium and be able to plug it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chivy's telling me no more free advertising apparently, so that's all right. But we're looking back at Nathan. We're looking on board with the safety car, looking back at Nathan Verney holding down P1, Stephen Callahan P2, Dean Sigovic now up into P3, and his brother Stephen behind him P4. Scotty Callahan has gone into the pits and come back out at the back, so he's going to have another go at these guys and try and get some moves done out on track and give us a bit of action.
But as we've seen earlier with Scotty, it'd be interesting to see. Yeah, I think he actually has taken tyres, mate. He had a 50-second pit stop. He's definitely taken tyres, and we've seen him do this in past rounds also.
Well,
Him
that's
take
the
tyres
total
on the
pit
first
lane
safety
time,
car.
buddy. I don't know if he did, mate, because that's the total pit lane time. He's actually only in the pits 8.8. So I don't think he did take tyres. Be a bit silly early on. He might take them later,
But
but
we have seen him on the first safety car or the early second safety car. But that was normally like 4 or 5 laps in that
I think
we saw
is
him
that
actually
Tyson
take the
McAvoy
tyres
back
early.
in the hunt now and on the back of the train, so maybe he's got something sorted
Oh,
now.
cool. Does that thing look like it's shifting right?
So maybe we'll get some free advertisement, Shibby, if he gets back up onto the podium. Shibby's saying he'll accept that, so that's fair enough. Nah, it's awesome, guys. And okay, so it's a SimiCube 1 Dave's talking about. Okay, yeah, so you'd be sending it back to Granite Devices, buddy, the same mob I've got to deal with, I think. So OSW, cool. They're goodwill, man. You know, they've been around for a long time, those things, and that's where it all started for
and I've heard their
SimiCube,
service is pretty second to none. Yes, it has to go back to whatever it has to,
so
but
far,
they're always pretty prompt with it and everything. So
far they've been good to deal with, mate, so far. All right, well, the safety car has pulled away from the field. Nathan, we'll just see if he backs the pack up or if he just goes straight away. We've seen before that the draft is quite strong in these cars. So if you go early, you may be giving your opponent a chance to take advantage of that draft. Now, it looks like he's glowing. Oh, he has gone early.
Oh, go, Nathan.
All right. Stephen Callahan there. Stephen Sigovic in the back. Looking like he was going to try and make a move on his brother, but Scott Callahan is going to make the move instead. Is he going to try and take both of them? Tyson McAvoy trying to take advantage of it as well. No, but he slots in behind.
Tyson was very smart to try and take that opportunity, or at least put some pressure on these boys at the back there.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Looks like he's going to go deep into
Beautiful
T3.
move.
Yeah, well done there onto the back straight. So that's a good pass by the boss. And we are on lap 3 of 31, so it's going to be he shorted out the servo board by putting a plug in the wrong way and turned it on. Oh no, that's bad.
Wow, that's no good. That is definitely
that means new circuit board does, or new servo board. Oh no!
Oh, Stephen Callahan had a bit of a moment.
Yeah, just lit up the tyres on exit there. I would not be surprised. It's just carrying a little bit extra speed, and these tyres are still pretty cold. That's going to throw him well back. Cost him at least sort of 6 or 7 seconds.
That's marine sweep, so poor guy,
Scott Callahan up into P2 now, chasing down Nathan Verney. Dean Sinkovich, P3. Dean will be happy with that. That's what he needs tonight. It's a good solid result on the podium, and it'll get him P3 in the championship.
Yep, it will.
But Tyson McAvoy, he's got something to say, and there is still a podium to fight for, so... And Tyson, coming off the back of a race win at Belle Isle, he did say that Belle Isle is one of his favourite tracks and he loves it. So I'm not surprised that he was quick around there in the Radical. Especially now that he's done a few races and that, he's got the feel for the car. Because it is one of those cars that takes a little bit of time to, just get a handle on it. And it is a fun car to drive, but it's a scary car to drive when you're trying to get it near the limit. So, is that a bit wide from Stephen Sinkovich there? Is he caught that? He's done well.
He's caught it.
Just a bit of mowing there on exit. I don't know if they need to mow the lawns out at Road America, buddy, but we can see your heart's in it there. But that has dropped him back about 3 seconds off the back and will unfortunately put him out of the tow.
Yeah, I'm not sure even if Dean Sinkovich finishes last. And if Tyson McAvoy could win this race, and Dean Sinkovich finishes 7th or 8th, he'll be able to get it up the spots. Just working it out for my quick maths here.
I think you're right.
Went between it, so yeah.
Unless I don't think the point differential changes. So, it's only 6 points sort of separating each of the positions. So that effectively means that if Tyson finishes first and Dean finishes 6th, then that's only a 5-point spread, so that's only 25 points, which I don't think is enough.
No.
Especially considering Dean has a drop round as well that he can apply. So it's likely more sort of out of Tyson's reach, but I don't think
You
Tyson's
never
thinking
know.
about the championship. He's thinking about the race tonight, and he doesn't like driving around on his own. He wants to have other cars around him, wants to be chasing them down. So,
And Scotty Scotty Callahan always loves a battle as well. That's why, hence, yes, he is fast, but he loves the battle and he loves a good race, and that's why he always starts from the back. He's got the pace to go through these guys, but we don't mind as a league or anything like that because, you know, if you want to start from the back and he's that clean and he just slices through these guys really nicely smooth. And I reckon these guys probably learn a lot from even just following him, to be honest.
we've seen that, you know, we had Matty Jones with us a bit earlier in the season. I know he had work commitments and stuff like that made it a bit hard for him to continue. And sort of him and Scott Callahan were just the two guys that were a class above everyone else. And it's sort of, it's almost the V8 supercar drivers. There's more of them that are that little bit quicker, but that 1 or 2 second gap, you know, is significant. You know, that they talk about, you know, that you need that sort of 1 to 2 second advantage to be able to get passes cleanly done. You know, and that's why some of the, you know, racing out there is more about tyre degradation and looking after your tyres and stuff like that starts to create those lap disparities, or Formula One where they add a DRS drag reduction system so that you can open the rear wing and get a bit more horsepower to give you that extra advantage to make the moves. You know? So otherwise you're trying to force the guy in front of you to make a mistake.
Yeah, and that's when you get some pretty sketchy racing sometimes, especially in those Formula Ones and stuff. When you get a bit of wheel-on-wheel action, sometimes things don't end the way people envision.
When you're talking at you know, the higher level of racing, you know, there's more crumbs invested in the game, whether or not it be, you know, money racing or not, real racing, sim racing, all that sort of stuff. But you know, the better you get at something, the more sort of personal effort you put into it, I suppose, as well. You know, so everyone's got currency in the activities, and I suppose we do that with all of our sporting endeavours. And in the end, we love to participate. Doesn't mean we don't love to win. Some of it's realistic and know it's rarely an option, but that doesn't mean we want to get out there and drive around and just sit behind someone. We want to compete, and that's the great thing here at SRW. You join in with the racing guys, and you'll just find drivers of all levels of skill and demeanour, and you'll be able to find those great battles out on track with us.
Just as we see on track right now with Stephen Callahan and Steven Singovich, both had a bit of a moment earlier, so these guys are locked in this battle at the back of the field here, guys. Just having a bit of a battle, just trying to get back onto the back of the field. Be interesting to see whether Mr. Singovich actually lets him past and sees if he could just use his
see the toe
slipstream.
And Stephen Callahan has shown good pace, and he's got a couple of podium. Had a P3 last week, so he has been on the podium several times. We finally got to ask that question if Scott and Stephen were related, and there is no relation. So it's Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson, no relation. I watched Die Hard the other night, so. We can now see Stephen in the draft of Stephen. Will Stephen be able to get the pass done on Stephen? I don't know. Stephen goes deep. Stephen choke breaks late.
Callahan on Singovich. On the under.
Oh, I had to say that. That's a good move by Stephen Callahan there, but I had a moment to be able to go Stephen versus Stephen.
Yeah,
so
Stephen versus
I had to keep that going.
What was that old cartoon, Ed, Ed and Eddie?
Yeah, that's it. All right, you see Dean Singovich starting to put the pressure on Tyson McAvoy. So did Tyson get past Dean?
No, he's beautifully gone past.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Have we got a replay of that? Because Tyson's got a move done on Dean that we completely missed. Thanks again, Shibby.
Oh, lock up.
He's just gone a bit deep.
Left.
He's just gone deep. But he's done well to actually avoid spinning the car. He's realised he's gone deep. And if he tried to turn that in normally, he just would have lost the rear. But just open out the steering a little bit more. Try not to ask the car to do too much. Yeah, you've lost that position, but you're still close enough to battle for it. And there's plenty of toes around here.
Yes, we know there's an abundance and there's plenty of spots to pass as well, as long as you can keep that draft. But it seems like the draft is the key on this track. Like, without it, You seem to fall off the back of our group very, very quickly.
Callahan is making a move up the inside of Nathan Burney into T1. We are on lap 7. He looks like he's run a bit deep, and Nathan Burney trying to come back at him. I don't think Nathan's going to send it up the inside, though.
Oh, and that's Scotty Callahan with the 1:59.
Getting the job done, and he's out in front.
Fastest lap of the race there for Scotty Callahan as well, with a 1:59.62 last lap. So he's definitely used the draft to his advantage.
Oh, Nathan Burney coming back at him here. You can see the toe is allowing him to claw right back up on the back.
He's definitely not letting him go, is he?
Oh, he's pushing hard. You can see there that the front just lost it there for a little moment. He caught it. But he doesn't want to let Scott get away. And we have seen Nathan show some great pace in this car.
Yes, great.
And he's been prepared to send it. It's been his undoing a couple of times. But if you're not prepared to send it, then, you know, as Anton Senna would say, you know, if I see a gap and if I don't go for it, I'm not a racer. Though he did mean that in a context of taking Alain Prost out. So we might think that the intention of that comment where it is, but I suppose it's still the thing. If you're not prepared to send it, then, you know, why are you racing?
Yep.
We have fun.
I think a lot of other famous racers have actually repeated the phrase since also. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen have both said it in quotes, and, you know.
Oh, I'm sure they have, buddy.
You know.
But generally, you find those sort of quotes when there's a contentious incident on
track.
track.
100%.
A little bit of an off-track there.
100% it is, yep.
There's a little bit of an off-track there from Nathan Burney as he was pushing hard.
Tyson McAvoy.
Dean's lost the rear. He's only just tapped the tyres, but that is going to throw him back behind his brother.
It doesn't seem
so
to
the
have done too much
battle
damage
is
to
back
that front,
on again.
So
Dean will be cursing himself there. He just carried a little bit too much speed, I think.
Thank you very much to DSL.
A little bit of bump at the curb. I think it might have been the bump there. And again, it's sort of one of those things that we've said before. You can't power out of those situations. You've almost got to come off it completely, let the car roll and settle itself.
Yeah, he has done a bit of damage to that front right canards there. Or front left canards there on his car. So that front splitter doesn't seem to have bent too much. And as we've seen in, you know, as we've seen in these cars in the past, it's not so much. You can drive it with a bent wing, but if you've got a really bent up front splitter, that's when it really comes undone, because you just don't get any grip into the braking zone essentially. So yeah, he might have just got away with that.
The tyres, mate. So I don't think he suffered any damage there. It was tyres, and he only tapped them as well. We can see here Scott Callahan has already got the gap out to 1.5 seconds on Nathan Burney, though Nathan is close enough to still benefit from a little bit of a tow through the carousel. I reckon they'd be flat chat through there.
100% just
okay. Shibby's got some info, buddy, on world records.
Yeah.
So how does it sit, buddy? 59.1 is the best time in quali. The best time in race. A 58.3 in race.
That is crazy fast.
So, again, we've got those track temps here is at 29 degrees on track at the moment. So it's not super hot, but it's not super cold either. And we generally know that.
But the atmospheric pressure, atmospheric temperature is 26 degrees. So it's, you know, it's not the coolest. It's not the warmest day, but, you know, it's a moderate kind of track, but it's an even colder atmosphere. So, you know, that might have something to do with tyres versus track temperature, etc., etc.
Yeah, but generally, you know, when you get tracks down in the 18, 19 degrees, that's when they're at their quickest.
Yeah, 100%.
You know,
that's what I'm
once
saying.
you get the tyres up,
it's not really the optimum track time or track temperature or atmospheric temperature for it to be perfect. And these guys probably have done it at that 18 degrees, perfectly optimum. So.
Well, look, you know, most of the guys, one of the beauties of SRW is that they put up all of the sessions in advance for the season, so that you can actually go in there and do a test drive and drive on the conditions that, you know, the date that the race is set and the conditions that will be there, so you can go out and do some practice in the actual race conditions. I mean, one of the things about this series, we know that it's popular amongst these drivers, but it's one of those cars that sort of only found its popularity in the last season of iRacing because they made it a free car. And now apparently Scott Callahan talking to him at the start, but before the race, and he was saying that iRacing have dropped it from the official calendar now as well, completely. They've got the SR10 in, so they're promoting that one. So unfortunately, this car is, one of those cars that maybe was starting to die a slow death, got a nice revival, and looks like it might have been hung out riding. So, well, he's one of those exponents. He loves the car and he loves driving it. Yep. So we'll have to see where
I'm hearing a lot in the community that not a lot of people are liking the SR10s, so it's just disappointing. But maybe it's just a learning curve that people just need to go through, maybe to get through the SR10s. But I'm not sure how many people like we've been talking to are willing to go through that learning curve. Who knows?
Look, cars have their own characteristics. We all have our favourites. We'll have the ones that we, maybe a favourite to drive, but we don't compete in, and, more leagues that sort of showcase those sort of cars. It will bring those people that like those sort of machines. I know a good friend of mine, Bruce, if he's out there watching, howdy buddy, he wants me to get the Audi GTO into a series because he loves driving that thing. And that's
that thing is fun.
Speed H pattern, all-wheel drive. You've got to get your shifts right, or you grind gears, you miss gears. Him and I do quite a few laps in it around the Nordschleifer. So he's been chasing it, trying to get me to get that one into a series. So it is one of those things, but it's great to see these guys are really enjoying it. And I raced the Radicals in the last season 1 for 2022 in SRW. When it was sort of a hassle. Oh no, another moment.
Steven
he's recovered.
Give him a moment now. He's got
his brother through. No, we don't want to see that, Stephen. No. I've got my money on you, buddy. Get out front of me.
I've got the money on Dino, so come on, Dino, get that third position in the championship as well, mate. Come on.
Oh, that was a moment there. I can see the boys have got a different colour little bar there. That thing that you can't actually remove it in iRacing for the paints. They make you that little paint bar. It's got to stay there, and a lot of cars have got blue. So you can see that these boys have changed it, so at least we can distinguish it.
It's always good. Thank you very much, boys.
Is that an older shade of yellow there, Stephen? You'll have to let us know after, buddy.
Yeah, it's just been left in the sun a bit longer. Oh no, it's DSL orange. Look at that. That looks like it's DSL orange.
DSL orange could be. Oh, that's a moment from Dean Sinkovich.
Oh no, that looks like a handbrake or something.
And spat it out.
Hey,
I'd say that might be a meatball.
Not Friday night, eh?
He has got the car going, but that's going to be a meatball. That car went in hard. Is that just the curb? He's bounced off the curb.
Or just get some. Oh, I think he got some grass on the braking zone. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit of grass.
Grass.
Bang! That's gone in hard. And Stephen actually did pretty well to avoid him. He's got back going again, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him go into the pits there and get that car fixed. Should well and truly be inside the window to be able to get a pit stop and get enough fuel in the car to get home, I would think.
Oof.
But
you never want to see that though.
Well, it'll be a bit of a handful to drive, I would think. And the way he hit that wall and it's all concrete, I would be very surprised if there's no meatball flag on that car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can see how much it's pulling to the right. Sorry, craziness. He's straight up into the pits, trying to get that thing fixed. It's probably he hasn't used his fast repair, so he's got his fast repair, right? So
Hughes saying he had shifting issues as well. Is that why he dropped out? I just saw your chat on the Facebook there, Hughesy. Thanks for that, mate.
Was it more an iRacing thing than a wheel thing then maybe?
No, that seems a hardware thing. I think Tyson's the same. Like his wheel has just been playing up. The paddles, because he's got a Formula wheel that he uses for these cars. Yeah. And it's the paddles playing up. He just wanted to use the Sparko for a Radical V8, apparently.
Yeah, fair enough. It just doesn't feel right, does it?
Well, also you map it differently. Like, I've got
me too.
3 different wheels. So, if I jump in the Porsche, I use my Formula wheel because it's mapped to that. If I go to press my push to torque or my pit limiter, it's all mapped to that wheel, so it won't detect it.
Yeah, that's true. With my GT4 wheel and my round wheel, I'll do the same thing as well. Yeah, true. Because a lot of wheels don't have the same amount of buttons as well, so you kind of have to map them differently anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a separate button box, but because I've got wheels with buttons, I'll use them for the push to torque and the pit limiter and those sort of things.
Yeah, me too. But I just use my Stream Deck for everything else. Easiest way.
Well, they make a great button box in Stream Deck.
So it's so good.
I've got one set up, and I've got a separate button box, and I've got heaps of buttons and encoders on my wheel as well. And
yeah, I think a button box would be a little bit easier, just because of the simple fact that, it's always the same button. Whereas sometimes with the Stream Deck, you have to go to the next page, and you go, okay, now I've got the bit, and then sometimes you get the next page, because I've only got a 15 button, so, it's either you go a button box that's always there, which would probably be more reliable, so you have less to think about when you're racing, right?
Well,
like that button's always that button rather than.
That's right. I mean, look, there's multiple ways to set it up. iRacing does let you set up text chat macros as well, so you can actually have you type something in the chat, and hash LF all means change my left front. So effectively what you can do is you can set up sort of macros where you can put in those commands, change all 4 tyres, or only change left side, or only change right side, or change each tyre individually. Plus fuel on and off, fast repair on and off. You can set up all the little chat macros, and then you can map them to a button on your button box or your wheel or your Elgato Stream Deck, those sort of things, so that you can have that. Generally, what I have set up is I have a few for my deltas and relative, and I have my ignition for the car, so to start the car and turn the ignition on and off.
Ignition's like lights on, lights off.
Well, if you
engine start, engine stop,
well, you need that in some
everything
series.
else on my wheel, but I haven't really delved into the whole all those extra buttons. It sounds like
some series, if you jump into it and you don't have a start and ignition, you can't start it on the grid. So I put that on my button box, but then I'll also use. I have a clear all button, so it just clears everything: tyres, fast repair, windshield, everything, fuel.
Oh, that's clever.
Right, and so effectively I've got a button set up for clear all, and then I'll have a button to just clear
I'm going to do that. I'm definitely
so I'll do fuel and no tyres, and then I've got a button set up for each tyre. So say if I only want fuel, or say if I only want tyres, I would go clear all, and then maybe turn all 4 tyres on.
I see.
Or just turn the tyres on now. It's not as much relevant when you're racing V8s because you want to change the tyres all the time. But when you're doing GT racing and LMP and stuff like that, you want double stint or triple stint in some of the Enduros,
So just a word to the wise out there, everybody in viewership land out there viewing tonight. Thank you very much for your followership, and thank you very much for being here and saying hello and following tonight. So we're in the ultimate round tonight. Great to have you. Thank you very much to DSL Welding and Services and the Promo Department. Make sure you hit that notification bell and make sure you give us lots of love and share to your friends and like on all social media and all our channels. Share as much as you can. Share the love.
Oh, was that another moment we've had there? Was it? Okay, well, we are on lap 13 of 31 tonight. Looks like the cars have sort of spaced themselves out a little bit. Only a small field tonight. So we will keep talking away here and follow as much of the racing as we can. But if you guys got anything out there that you want to ask, put it in the chat. We're here to talk.
That's it, Cal. I was just saying just before, our top 3 are very much averaging, within about 0.3 of each other the last lap. Oh, top 4 actually. So these guys are doing very, very similar laps within tenths of each other, but they have, the gaps have formed now, but they're very much, those top 4 are doing very, very similar laps.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it's sort of the dilemma of sim racing, I think racing in general, where you're pushing and you're looking at data and you're chasing your technique, all these sort of things to try and find tenths. Trying to find tenths out there. 10th in this corner, like, you know, you come to a place like Road America. How many corners have we got here at Road America? 14. So if you can find a 10th in every corner, there's 100 seconds. You know?
Which
Sorry, not
adds
100
up
seconds,
so
but,
quickly, doesn't
but
it?
there's, you know, that's right. There's 4. You find a 10th, there's 1.4 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
And
you
that's
know,
when you can see these guys, everyone goes, oh, they're aliens. And it's just like, actually, no, they just nailed every single one of those corners really
that's
nicely.
exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
And
when you can
consistently.
do those fast times lap after lap after lap without making mistakes, and you know that's what sets the you know the class from the rest, I suppose.
100%.
And then you know you've got a car like this where you know guys aren't as familiar as it as maybe the supercars or the GT3s, and it takes a while to get up to speed and know what you can do to the car, what you can get it to do, what you can't get it to do. And then we've seen before, tyres tend to last pretty long in these cars, and because of that period where you've got to take 2 or 3 laps to get the tyres back up to temperature, you almost prefer driving on a warm set of old tyres than a cold set of new tyres. And that also brings a bit of excitement in at the end of the race because the tyres ain't got anything left on them. And the guys are trying to drive them around.
Yeah. And that's what we've seen, yeah. In previous rounds, everyone's like, oh, yeah. And then they just literally, for that, like, especially in these 31 lap races or 32 lap races, depending on the track, especially with the lap times, etc., etc. You've seen you've seen these guys. They just these tires fall off like a cliff in that last 4 or 5 laps, especially in the last 2 laps. They've got nothing left. They're just skating on just wires, really. Most of these races, but yeah, really, those like kind of last 4 or 5 laps gets real sketchy in these cars, with these tires.
Well, I think it comes down to how much you've used them too. You know, the problem is spins beget spins. Much like safety cars breed safety cars, spin beget spins. Oh, a bit of grass there.
Yeah, because you upset your tire
avoid that.
pressure, you upset your tire
Well,
temperature.
you overheat the tyres and you start
Yep.
using more of them, and then that means you got less at the end of the race. And it's
Yep.
sort of one of those things, you know, tyres start to get slippery, so you spin again, and then you've just lit them up again. And
But also,
you're just
once they get
repeating the
really hot, then it
cycle.
upsets the tire pressure. So then the next, the next corner, the next series of corners, you're more likely to make a mistake as well. It seems
true.
like Tyson McAvoy's had a bit of a crash here.
Oh no!
Stephen Callahan's
boss
just
done?
passed him.
What has the
Wow,
boss
hey, what's
done?
happened there? Has he had a bit of an issue with his
shifting
shifting
DSL
again?
Welding Services and see what happened. All right. Well, now we're looking at here we go. So he's just sent it in the carousel. And it's just started to go on him. Lost the rear. He's caught it, but then the snap oversteer. So that's another perfect indication of, when we say, you try to power out of a slide in the V8 supercar, you might get away with that. Stephen Callahan's going to get the move done, is he? Yep. Okay, so that will bunch these boys back up again. But again, we talk about
Tyson
Tyson's got to
McAvoy's
be
now
careful
into the
for a
pit
level
lane
2.
now. Wow,
Well,
after that crash, he's into the pit lane. So I didn't look
Not
that
a bad
did
move,
it, Kelly?
maybe.
But,
Well, I wonder if he goes for tyres. That'll be interesting.
yeah, true. Maybe he's just using his opportunity to pit now, maybe. It is halfway point. It is perfectly halfway point. He might just go like, well, I've just had a bit of a spin.
It is.
And my tyres are a bit rubbish.
I don't know if we can see if the tyres are disappearing. I don't think we can see it from this
No,
angle.
he's not up on the jacks, so he's definitely not up on the jacks by the looks. No, just fuel, mate. But look at that.
Well, you got to wait for fuel before you can do tyres. But he's been in there a while now. Hey?
What was that pit lane time? Pit time was 20
Pit
seconds.
time was 20 seconds.
Oh,
It's actually
maybe.
20 seconds in the pit.
25 seconds actually. Yeah, 26, almost 26 seconds. Wow. Okay.
It's going to be interesting.
Mm.
Oh, have we had another moment from Dean, have we? Or is this that grass moment that you saw before? This is a new one.
This is another one. I look at while
he's gone deep.
Tyson's gone to the pits.
Oh no. He's bouncing the tyres.
Ouch.
Oh, that banged up the rear of it now. He's already used his fast repair. Oh, Oh, it's
If you want
stacked
to
up
put
the whole
anything into the
left-hand
back of the
side
wall,
of
you
that
want to put the
car.
back of these
Oh,
cars into
no.
the wall, not the front of it.
In the wars, buddy, but you gotta make sure you keep the car straight tonight because P3 in the title is up for you. Mr. Dead, hey buddy. Boys, a couple of mates tuning in to watch the action tonight. Got the cars pretty spaced out at the moment, so we've been talking all manner of things sim racing, talking about button boxes and everything. Dean Sinkovich decided to spoil our discussion by slamming it into the wall. Maybe trying to get some attention. No, that's going to be just a struggle to drive that car
Put
for the
that
rest of the
camera
race
on me now!
Look at it. That's bent up big time.
Oh, it's not looking happy, is it?
Yeah, it's probably going to feel a little bit like a boat or maybe an anchor on wheels trying to turn that thing.
Yeah. Or just an anchor attached to that left-hand side of the car. Especially when it's coming into that braking zone.
Yeah, it's not pretty. The car was looking slick and clean, and he
Scotty Callahan we can
fixed.
see in the background coming for the lapping, the overlap.
Yeah, Dean's a minute 16 behind, so it is getting close. You're right. He has currently a 6.4 second lead over Nathan Burney. These guys have all been sort of running in the 2-minute flats for the last few laps, but as Todd mentioned before, lapping close to each other, but that only just maintains the gap, and these gaps have sort of developed over a few incidents, a little half spins and little moments, and when you're chasing tenths to try and get faster and you make a mistake, it costs you seconds. And it can be frustrating, but that's the joys of being a race driver, I suppose. Yeah, simulation or real.
I just still can't get over the fact that we're in round 10, we're in an ultimate round, and Scotty Callahan still hasn't washed that car.
It looks pretty clean there, pristine, buddy. So
it's washed me all over it. It said wash me all season. You know, he changed his livery up last week, and he's come back with a wash me.
Deciding to pit this lap, so we'll keep an eye on them, but he's perhaps looking to try and get a bit of an undercut.
Nice. He has been lapping very consistently.
Well, he's having a good night, Nathan. He's kept the car clean. He'd be the first to say that he's had a few moments in these cars this season, but looks like he's going to do enough to lock out P2 for the championship, and that's a good result.
He's been really impressive,
actually. Here every week, mate. Yeah, great dedication.
Yeah, he's had made little mistakes, and he's along the way, and he's got caught up in things and all the rest. But you know what really impresses me with Nathan Verney? He comes back every week and he gets better. He learns. You can tell in his driving that he learns from the mistakes or whatever has happened or the incidents that have happened the week before. He comes back bigger, stronger every week. And
he just comes back
definitely showing.
I think he just comes back and sends it, mate. And and that's all it is. The spins and mistakes and things like that are generally when he's trying to get the car to the limit.
And I'm sure the lockdown lads are like, just don't stop going full send. Just go full send, but just work out your limits a bit more, which he's starting to do, and he's definitely done towards the end of the season, which is just awesome to see. Very much, I think. The most improved, we've had Benjamin Siren in the Porsches, and I think Nathan Verdi and Radicals this season would be my picks for most improved. But I don't know about you, Kelly.
I think Nathan had pace from the word go. I remember trying to keep up with him last season, and he was pretty quick in these things.
Yeah, he was, but he's just become a bit more seasoned, a bit more consistent, and yeah, that's all. From my view, from my opinion,
he certainly has managed to keep this car nice and pristine and clean tonight. We know that the couple of the Sinkovic SRW machines are looking a bit battered and bruised. Scott Callahan has reacted to Nathan Burney and has come into the pits. So we'll have to see if Scotty goes for tyres, as he has done before.
Let's see. Oh, yeah, Stephen Callahan there. He's up on the jack, so he does have tyres. Is it all tyres? Who knows?
Yeah, well,
it is all tyres. Yeah, it is all tyres. Yep, cool.
I know with the V8 supercar they disappear and reappear, so I didn't see that in the
He
automatic
just went
here.
up on the jacks on the front and then up on the jacks at the back. So yeah, all 4 tyres changed.
Oh, Stephen Callahan has gone
Stephen
deep.
Callahan out.
There,
Oh
as he banged that
no.
car up, it does look like he's hit
Yeah,
the
he
wall pretty
has.
hard.
Really
In the
bad.
same spot that Dean Sinkovich went into.
Yeah.
That car looks similarly damaged. So that Tyson putting a bit of pressure on there.
Well, he
And
was, yeah.
Stevens broke way too deep, or has he caught a bit of grass on the exit? No, just the car's just rotated
Yeah.
on him. Tried to carry a bit
Broken
too
way
much
too deep,
speed,
and then
and he's
just,
counter steered
locked up.
there.
Oh
And
no.
just bang into the tyres. Jeez, the tyres hurt that
You could
car.
see what he was
didn't they?
trying to do though. He was trying to keep it out of there, but as soon as he hit the gravel, it's kind of just pebbles just send you sideways.
Just hit a bit hot, and that's probably robbed us of a good battle there, because Tyson was catching up and was looking like we were going to have a nice battle there. But I'd say Stephen has just come into the pits now, so I don't think Stephen pitted. I think he had pitted.
He hasn't. He hasn't.
So
Oh
he's
yeah,
come
he
back
has
in
pitted,
maybe
yep.
just to use
Yeah, he's
to
come
keep
back
it.
in
I
again.
think he might just use his fast repair and get going again. Yep, that's
Yep.
all he did. He saved
There
his
you
fast
go.
repair. But
So he did pit
unfortunately,
earlier by the look of that. So he had pitted
Yeah,
earlier by the look
I
of it.
thought
Good
so.
guess, though. Yeah.
he had pitted, but yeah, only 1.8 seconds in the pits that time, and that was
Yep.
just to use his fast repair. So it's good that he had that, but unfortunately it has thrown him about 42 seconds back behind Tyson now. So back into the clutches. Dean Sinkovich is only 6 seconds back, but he's already used his fast repair, so unfortunately Dean's stuck with a damaged car for the rest of the night. ZK, hello again, guys. Thanks for the shout out, buddy. Good to have you with us. Keep those comments coming, guys. As always, a big thanks to you guys for tuning in on SRW TV, and of course we can't do it without our sponsors, our major sponsor, DSL Welding Services, the promo department, looking after our safety car. It's only been one safety car tonight. We didn't have a safety car gamble. So far it's only been one.
No, he didn't. I
And,
thought we both had a feeling that there wouldn't be that many tonight.
look, there wasn't. It's only a small field tonight. That makes it a bit harder. There's also lots of runoff area, so
And
it's
this
sort of one of
track
those.
is very prone to opening up gaps as well. Oh, Nathan Verney's had a bit of an off track here. By the look of it, SDK's just flagged up a bit of a red flag there. Just
Something's
saying,
happened to our
Nathan Verney's
P2
back
runner.
home.
He's 16 seconds back, so he's lost some time to Scott, and Scott did a longer pit stop. So
Thank you very much,
what's
DSL Welding
happened?
Services, for this action replay.
Just the curb, a bit of grass.
That's hard.
Okay.
Oh, what a save, though. Come on.
He's
Has
done
he kept it out of the
well.
wall on getting it back on? Yeah, he has. Beautifully done.
Yeah, it looks like he's kept it out.
Ooh,
The car's still nice
if you
pristine,
want to
but
lose
just
the
some
rear
time.
end, that's exactly where you want to lose it. Somewhere that you're not going to end up in the tyre wall straight away.
Well, we speculated that perhaps Nathan took tyres as well. Looking at the pit stop times, they're all about 25, 26 seconds.
Yeah.
Apart from Dean's, which was only 20 seconds. So
And Stevens
I
was
don't know
almost
if that's
20,
enough
30,
different
but
to count for tyres or not. I know that generally the guys have been reluctant to take tyres.
yeah.
It's just so much of a handful on cold. We are on lap 20 of 31 tonight,
Oh.
guys. Nathan Burney, 17 seconds back now. Oh
Tyson's
no,
had an off
Tyson
track here.
McAvoy's had a massive
I wasn't
moment.
sure if that was it was him just going off track and just using track limits or not.
Oh, he's
Wow.
decided to bang his car up. That looks like it's coming into the carousel, is it?
Yeah.
Something's happened there in the carousel to Tyson. Oh no, it's coming onto the last turn going onto the main straight. Okay. And he's just gone deep.
Oh,
Okay.
he doesn't have
It
any.
must be into
any sort of
T1, so
damage.
we've picked it up right at the back. So he's come down the straight and it's happened into T1.
Oh,
Now he has been saying he's had issues
easy enough
with,
to do.
with double shifts on his wheel, and sometimes if it does that double shift, it'll snap
Oh, on the
rear of
downshift
car
as
out
well.
on
If you
him.
go double shift, it's going to go down 2 gears. It's going to send the whole back end sideways, right?
Okay, can't see where it's happened to him. Okay, maybe coming down here. This might be it here. He's gone deep. No?
No. Oh. Really?
It did look like it was in the carousel, so it looked like it was a bit further along on this lap.
Yeah.
ZK just asking about participating in our league. You certainly can, buddy.
Wow. Boom. Inside
It's in, of course you would need to
Inside
be on
curve and grass.
iRacing, but yeah, that's what he's done there. So has he just gone in deep and the whole car's rotated around on him?
Yeah.
Wow. Tried locked it up on entry.
I think he had a really nice line, but he was
gotta...
still on brakes when he hit the apex. And when he hit the apex, he hit the curb and a bit of dirt, a bit of grass, and just, yeah, it was all over from there.
He's still got a fast repair left, because I think the car was pretty good. But again, he might be able to drive it in this condition. I've seen the guys do that before. So, yeah, getting back to your question, ZK, yes, you can join our leagues. If you go to simracingworld.com.au, you can see that they've just put a link up there in the chat for you. I think the link to our Discord's in there as well. We've got a Discord server where we discuss all things and where, the information on the leagues will be. But if you go to the website, and we were not accepting entries for the next season just yet. This is round 10, since the last round of the season. And generally about a month, Shibby, for the next season to start? 3 weeks. Yeah, so it'll be 3 weeks from next week. Downtime before the next season starts, but follow those links there and jump on board, and you won't miss any of it. You can jump on board and enjoy the fun. Now, Tyson looks like he stayed out, I think. So, is he going to drive a damaged car around? Yeah, he's staying out at the moment. He does have Harry Dodd spotting for him tonight. We were going to bring Harry in and have a bit of a discussion about the fuel strategies and stuff like that. Perhaps now that the fuel limits are done, let's see if we can find him.
Just on a side note, Shibby's just shared in the Facebook chat at least, our simracingworld.com.au and Discord link there as well, if you guys want to jump on that. I'm not sure if it's on YouTube. I'm just keeping an eye on Facebook. Okay, so to all our channels right now, if you can have a look at our Discord, you can join our Discord and hit the link to our website also. Jump in there, get any entries, have a look at what we've got for next season as well. This is our ultimate round this last week, and 3 weeks until we start our new season. So jump in there soon. Entries will open soon for our new series, for our new season, which will be season 3. But just make sure you hit that notification bell and make sure you like us on all our socials, so then you're up to date and see when everything's coming up.
All right, so I'm just trying to drag Harry down, and Discord is deciding not to play ball. I have to drive him down to there so I can drag him down again. All right, Harry Dodds from Performance Sim Racing, bring you into the booth, buddy.
Hey.
Spotting for Tyson tonight. He was going pretty well, but a bit of a moment there, buddy.
Yeah, just trying to do a mistake. So yeah, he's not just currently pushing hard, just trying to maintain the gap to Dean Sinkovic, because that's who we're racing for the championship at the moment. Championship position.
So, no intentions of going in and using that fast repair. He's just going to see if he can drive it as it is. No meatball flag.
Well, that's hopefully the plan. If we can get to the end with the amount of damage he's got on the car, which is very much not a lot. Yeah, hopefully he can get to the end here.
But look worse than it feels for him at the moment, you think, buddy?
Oh no, definitely not. Like we know how capable Tyson is at driving the car, so like he can handle it.
Well, as long as he hasn't got a left hand down or something like that, where he's going to constantly deal with it. But it's good to see. So the championship is pretty close. Though I don't know if we've had enough cars here tonight to create enough of a spread. But Tyson's just got to try and finish as high as he can, and hope Dean finishes as low as he does. So.
Well, yeah, because we know that Dean's got to pit again, having pitted on lap 10s, because like obviously you can't get home on the current limited tanks that we've got in the Radical. So like we're hoping that if he pits again, then we can easily get out in front of him and hopefully chase down Stephen Callahan if we need to pit.
But what was your critical lap for tonight then, Harry?
Critical lap was obviously between lap 15 and 17.
Okay, so you needed to do 15 to clear enough out of the tank to be able to get enough to get home.
Correct.
Well, that's good to know. So yeah, so all right, so that's where the battle is at the moment. Tyson is about 27 seconds back from Nathan Burney, so it's been a bit of a lonely second half of this race. He would have enjoyed chasing the boys down early on though.
Yeah, for a lap or two there, he was the fastest car on track. So yeah, that's a big bonus because we know Tyson's got pace in this Radical, which is good.
Awesome, buddy. Well, look, thanks very much for coming down and having a chat with us. I'll let you go back to Tyson, and hopefully he can hang on to P3 and maybe see if he can close the distance on Nathan in P2.
Thanks, Kerry. Thanks, guys.
Oh, buddy.
Cool, myself.
Have a good one.
As you can see, like the back of the car is a bit banged up, but the front splitter's still pretty good, hey, Cowie? So, as you can see, as we've seen throughout this season, if that front splitter seems pretty intact and the front of the car is pretty intact, then you can still drive these cars, as you've experienced in the car also, driving it and not even realising that rear wing's that banged up. So, I think rear end damage is a lot better than front end damage in these cars.
Dean has. No, he hasn't got that car fixed.
Yeah, no, he's got a bit of damage on that, but I'm sure that's not really putting too much of a hindrance on his driving right now. Wasn't it the other side of his car that was... No, this is Stephen we're looking at. That's why we're... Yeah.
Dean's on the left-hand side of his car, so Stephen's got damage on the right. So just symmetrical
combine
damage.
Combine the brothers' cars, the SRW cars will have one perfect car, right? And one really banged up car.
Well, everything has spaced out there, guys, but thanks very much for your comments, so... I'll tell you, on the Nordschleifer talking about that. We're not sure about what's happening with the next season just yet, Dave.
Yeah,
whether it'll be the SR10. Scott Callahan is pushing hard to hang on to the SR8. I think you're one of those guys that loves them as well. So I wouldn't be surprised to see you out there. But we are asking all the guys. Asking all of the guys about their opinions and what they like and all that sort of stuff, and what cars they want to sort of go moving forward, or what can the league do good, what can we improve on, what are you loving, and that's what it's all about. Inclusion there, getting everyone in. Looks like we've got a gate crasher to our broadcast here, jumping in because we're sitting in the green room. This is. One of my mates has decided to crash in and say hi.
Oh, okay. Very random.
Okay, so Shibby just wasn't sure. Just to make sure he didn't crash our discussion. But let him say hi, mate, and then we better kick him out. Hey, buddy.
Hello, Kerry. I'm recruiting some recruits for you. I've got Matthew Bullitt wants to join you, so I'll just pass
awesome, buddy.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
No, that's awesome, man. We are, as said, just have a look on the YouTube chats there, guys. We've got links up to our Discord server and simracingworld.com.au if you want to join in and join the fun. And guys, we can't have you come in and crash our party, so we're going to have to mute you all because this is a live broadcast. But thanks, and we'll have a chat to you a bit later and get you all involved.
Cool, not a problem.
Cheers, mate. The boys coming in, crashing our broadcast, but that's all right. SRW TV, we're an inclusive bunch.
Yes, and that's the beauty of the community, isn't it? And that's the beauty of SRW, not only SRW, but iRacing, I believe, as well, and the sim racing community as well. We're a very inclusive bunch, and that really I think it really accentuates how inclusive we are, but also how much we help each other as well. The amount I talk to people, I'm like, man, I just can't drive these radicals, and they're like, oh, try this, try that, do this, oh, have you got your brake force on this? If and they'll spend time with you on Discord and stuff, and what you need to really do is reach out to people, and especially in this community, people are always willing to help each other, and Because basically for them, and that's what I love about the community as well, it's like they want you to get faster so then they can race with you and against you as well, you know, and have a good race and have some fun with you as well. So, you know, everyone has vested interest in each other's, I suppose, iRacing journey, I suppose. Or sim
Oh,
racing
look, that's
journey.
it. Look, you know, I mean, there are, you know, there's always going to be quick guys out there. There's always, you know, when you start to get to the more elite levels of sim racing, I'm sure they're a lot more guarded when it comes to their secrets and tips and things like that, driver training and all that sort of stuff. But I suppose the advantage of it is you've got guys from all different backgrounds that can get together and participate in a pastime, and it has that competitive element to it. So, you know, we can get in and battle against each other. And
You know, I think perfect example is like Josh Thomas as well, you know, offering his time to coach and, you know, from precision sim training.
Well, that's
You know,
right.
offering his time with the Super 2s and all the rest and help these guys getting better. And we've seen all these guys that have gotten better through Super 2s get better and then move into Super 1s, but then we'll see these guys move into Super 1s, some of these guys in Super 2s this season, but also these guys in Super 2s, you can see these guys racing in other leagues like, you know, the F3s and the Radicals and all the other series. They're racing in these different cars, and you can see how much that coaching actually really pays off with these guys in different cars even, you know?
The principles of driving stay the same. I mean, you know,
Yeah. And if you can drive the V8, you can pretty much drive anything, right?
well, yes and no. It has its quirks. It's a different way to drive that car, but you know, I'm off the pace in the GT3s as a result, because I don't, you know, use those driver aids that you need to use in those cars to be fast.
Yeah, it's a whole different tuning sort of aspect and the way you tune the car as well. Like I'm very much into my GT cars, and I know how to tune them and all the rest of it. And I jump in these sort of cars and the V8s, and I just don't even know where to start with tuning and tire pressures and all that sort of stuff. Whereas with the GTs, I know exactly what to fiddle with, if you know what I mean. Yeah.
The basic principles of driving though stay the same.
Yes, 100%.
The idea is you want to get the majority of your braking done in a straight line.
Yeah.
As we talked before, think of the tyres as having a certain percentage of grip, so 100% of grip. You can decide whether or not you want to use
the palm of your hand is the only
for
contact
acceleration. You can decide if you're going to use it to slow the car down or to turn the car. So the thing is, anytime you try to do more than one of them at the same time, then that's when you've got to compromise.
Cancel each other out, right?
So you brake straight, and as you start to turn, that's when you need to come off the brake, and that's where you see the technique of trail braking, where the guys will try and use the trailing aspect of that brake as they lift their brake off, but don't come off it completely, just lift it. And what that does is it stops that big heavy weight transference to the rear. You can keep a bit of grip on the front of the car and be able to turn it in. You see Tyson there taking a rather wide line.
But there is a big, massive difference between how you brake in different cars and how you do different. You know, even trail braking with different cars. Like massive difference between, say, trail braking in the Radical versus, say, GT4 or GT3.
Of course, but the principle is the same.
Yeah,
you've got 100% of grip. If you try to ask the tyres to brake at 90% and turn at 30%, that's 120, and that's more than the tyres are going to let you do it, and you're going to slide. So you know, if you want to turn at 20, 30, if you want to turn at 30%, then you can't brake any more than 70%. And it actually ends up being a lot more than that, because the disparity is bigger, because not only are you sort of turning the car in, but you're trying to maintain a certain mid-corner speed as well. So now you are using the tyres for grip for, you know, the load, the acceleration, the braking, and the turning. And you start to ask it to do all these things, and then you want it to do it for 30 laps. So at the end of the race, when you've asked the tyres to do that for 29, it might decide that they've had enough.
Yeah, exactly right. And if you do too much of that in the first 10 laps, and then you get to lap 20 and you're like, wow, man, this is already feeling a bit sketchy because I've been overdriving this car. You know, it makes for a very interesting end to your race, doesn't it?
Well, it's one of the things you said. The best drivers out there are the ones, and generally they'll turn all the other sounds of the game down and make sure that they can hear the tyre squeal. So that's the key thing you're looking for, especially if you're trying to manage your tyres. You want to minimise that sound. And
Yeah, that tyre
Greg Leak
scrub
just
sideways.
doing a shout out. Greg, good to see you on the chat there, buddy. You need a Super 3 series, okay? So Greg's putting his hat out there for Super 3s.
In the V8, you mean?
Of course, you know, keep those suggestions coming, guys. Well, you could see there, Stephen just struggling with the car. He had to have a couple of stabs there.
That's my vote anyway. Just selfishly. I just love the GT4. So.
You know, you're on SRW's already racing the V8s, and they're my machine. I love the V8 supercars. You know, I had a go at the Radicals and quite enjoyed driving these things. So, again, they're a scratch your head car. You think you had grip that same way that corner.
Yeah.
You know, that lap, and then the next lap you do the same thing and it steps out on you and you scratch your head.
Yeah, it's very, 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 very true, isn't it? You're like, but it didn't react like that. I did the same line, the same everything last lap.
You didn't
do that.
You did something different.
Yeah,
Of course, you do
exactly
something
right.
different
But
when
you
it
swear
happens.
it when you first do it, and then
yeah.
you watch the replay back and you go, no, I actually did something totally different there.
Well,
I was on the wrong
driving.
line. I thought I was, but I just did.
That's when you're driving, and again, you know, you get to trust the driver. Well, see a few of the guys taking a little bit of excursion, using a fair bit of that on the exit. They do have 25 incident points before they would get a penalty, a drive-through, so it does give the guys enough there, some margin. So I know at Circuit of Americas on Sunday for the V8 supercars, there were a lot of guys who were starting to run out of incident points just because of how many off-tracks you accrue around there.
Yeah, yeah. There's been quite a few tracks in the American Invasion that to be able to get the best line on here, you really have to what's the word? Milk the track limits, and a lot of these American Invasion tracks. So
The principle,
we've seen a
again,
lot
one
of
those.
incident points just from off tracks.
Well, it's one of those things we talk about again. You know, I mean, the quicker drivers are the ones that use every inch of the track that they can. And sometimes when you give incident limits out there and there's a bit of a runoff that doesn't have a slowdown, then you might see, you know, the strategic players, you know, use that as the race moves on. You know, if you can get a strategic advantage by cutting a corner, or cutting an apex, or running wide, and not get penalised for it, then, you know, save your points and maybe get to take advantage of it at the end of the race.
Exactly right. As we're seeing Dean Sigovic here, he's driving with a bit of a banged up car. I think you're winning tonight at the moment. You had bets on Steven Sigovic beating Dean Sigovic.
Yes, Steven's got him at the moment, so...
He's got him now, and Tyson, he might have enough spots there to be able to take
gap.
third position there. But who knows?
I
Dean,
don't know. Well, that-
he's still in sixth. I think Dean had to get an eighth, didn't he? He had to,
yeah, look, I think we looked at it was going to be pretty hard. The other thing is Dean has a drop round available to him as well.
Oh, yeah,
So-
true. He's got the eighth up the
that's going to make
sleeve,
it
eh?
hard as well. I think as long as he gets this finish in, gets the car around here, it should be his. But
Yeah.
he's about 20 seconds behind his brother at the moment, though he is making up ground, probably a second or two a lap. So, but we are onto lap 30 of 31, buddy. So with this race has almost come to an end. So it's not going to be time to make those distances up.
No,
Looking at
ultimate
Scott
round
Carpenter,
as
our
well.
race leader, and he is miles in front.
Absolutely smoking it. You reckon he's going to wash it just as a, you know, he's going to wash this car after the series? Or you reckon he'll come back with a nice livery? Maybe I should make him one and just see if he wants to run it.
He's
I'll
about
make
to
him a
start
nice
the
one.
last lap of our V8 Radicals series, so let's go on board and have a look maybe at this last lap and see if he's still going to send it, as he sort of has been just about every lap we watch.
They're still pushing hard, eh? Look at that. Straight into turn one, using all the track. Come on, son. Oh, he's not letting off, is he, Cowie? Come on. Look at that. Coming down through the sweep, through the moraine sweep, as it's called.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, coming down through the moraine sweep. And as he come down through, you know, as he comes
Let's just see where he
under the...
breaks. Oh, there's a break it at the start of the orange and white curving. In the V8 supercar, you break it in the dirt that starts, which is about 150 metres before it. That's
Insane,
crazy.
isn't it? And this is Hurry Downs, this corner. Turn 7.
Look, no lift there at all.
Insane, isn't it? Let's see how he goes down to the bottom of the hill. This is such a hard braking point. Look at that! Man, so smooth. He carried so much speed through there. What gear was that? Wow, that was insane. Wow,
You
wait,
do have
that's
to
how
modulate
that's
the
the
accelerator a
line.
little bit through the carousel.
That's always been a tricky corner for me. He's nailed that straight through there, down through the carousel now.
Well, no, we did the carousel, yeah. Now sort of coming onto the back straight.
Oh yeah.
Coming down to, is this Canada?
Sorry, that was just the kink back there. Yeah, we're coming down to Canada corner. Yep.
That's it. And is going to finish this race 35 seconds in front of his nearest competitor, so he has just driven away
Started
with it.
from
I
the
think
back as
more
well.
importantly, he hasn't made any mistakes as he comes around the last turn here at Road America to bring home the 222 machine V8 Radical. Scott Callahan, our race 10 winner here at SRW TV with a commanding victory
drive.
once again from our resident alien.
What
He's
a
quick in these
drive.
cars.
Holy wow,
Oh,
boy. Where
quick
did he
in these
get
cars,
that
mate.
time from? That is insane.
Well, that's right. It was a 159.3 on his final lap. I think he did a 159.2 earlier in the race, so only a tenth of his best time all race on the last lap. That's a great stuff. Nathan
That is actually
Burney,
my SDK showing me. He was only 2,000th of a second slower on his last lap than his best lap.
oh,
overall.
Nathan Burney has brought his machine home in P2, and that will also secure P2 in the championship, so our championship standings will reflect the race standings tonight. Scott Callahan P1 will finish our series champion. Nathan Burney P2. Tyson McAvoy here. This was the one we're not sure about. Tyson coming over the line with a P3 tonight with a fairly banged up car. Just one little mistake, that's all it cost to make the car look like that. But obviously he's been able to drive that home and not have to take advantage of his fast repair, seeing he'd already pitted. Stephen Callahan coming around the last section as well. He is another one who has used his fast repair, came in and to fix it, and unfortunately his moment happened after he'd already pitted.
I'm just doing some quick
Steven
maths
Singovic.
on the
Stevens had a massive moment, has he? Oh no. Is this okay? So she be telling us that maybe Dean and Stephen have been playing around, because it's actually got Dean finishing ahead of Stephen over the line. Okay. They're trying to take that witch's hat as far as he can around the circuit.
Okay,
No,
I'm just
that-
doing some quick maths here, just to see where these boys actually finish the section. So fifth, I'll just do some quick maths. See if we can try and work out who's got it or not.
All right, I'm going to try and maybe see if we can get the field down. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
By my quick calculations, Dean Sinkovic has gotten the third place for the championship by 12 points by the end of that race.
Oh, I missed that part you said there, buddy.
So I was just saying that I think Dean Sinkovic, by my quick maths and working out from the points difference, Dean Sinkovic is slotted himself into third place in the championship, beating Tyson McAvoy by 12 points in the end.
So Tyson close to within 12. Okay, well that was, we thought it was going to be close. To see if your math stands up, we're going to start to bring a few of the boys down, come down and have a chat. Scotty Cowan here, Nathan Burney. Boys, we would have liked a few more cars out there for the final race, but it's been an awesome season. Scott, from last to first again, and just you love driving these cars, buddy.
Oh yeah, this is so much fun, especially starting from the back. I mean, it's a great bunch of guys too. So, I mean, where can you go wrong in a league like this? I'm surprised there's not many more people, but I suppose next year I'm wrangling a whole heap of people over. So, hopefully
Okay,
next
we
season will be
heard
better.
there might be a sort of secret sort of army within SRW trying to keep the SR8 Radical alive here. So
Yeah, well, I mean, it's the only place we can race the SR8 now, so it's a brilliant car. I mean, as long as once people get in and get used to it, they'll love it.
I agree, buddy. I drove it in the first season and then jumped on to commentate it. But you know, I love driving these things themselves. They're such a handful sometimes, and I think that's what scares people sometimes. You know, it almost seems to be a car that it's hard to power out of a slide. You can power through it if that's your intention and slide the car through, but the moment you start to lose the rear, you've almost got to come completely out of it, don't you?
It's sort of weird because I suppose I'm just that used to racing them. I sort of slide and lose it here, there, and everywhere, but I downshift or I brake or I accelerate depending on what's going on. So
Yeah.
but I mean, I've got good gear too, so I can feel everything. There's guys out there on basic stuff that probably can't feel what I can feel through the wheel either. So it is a tricky car, but once you get used to it, it's so much fun.
Do you turn down the force feedback in these things, or you run it super strong?
No, I turn it right down because you can feel more.
Well, that's what
Uh,
I've found. If it's too
Any
strong,
other
you
advice you can
spend
give
all
us in
night
these?
wrestling.
You're obviously crazy fast in them. Is there any other like little tricks you can give us
Well,
for
the
us
main
noobs out there?
the main reason I'm fast is because I race it so much.
Yeah.
I've got a different driving style to everyone else too. I run the brake bias really forward, and I use my downshifting for rear brake bias.
Oh, okay, so you're basically using the downshift rotation to rotate the car into the apex?
Yeah, and the
Okay.
further I go forward on the brake bias, the more
Yeah.
stable the rear becomes under acceleration. So I
Oh.
drive completely different to most other people.
Word to the wise out there then. Everyone out there viewing, I'm gonna try that. Thank you very much, mate. Yeah, nice.
I
Well,
was
it doesn't work for everyone. I mean, the real aliens out there are a lot quicker than me, and they just jump in and drive anything. But they go a lot quicker than I go. But I
I think you'd
just
sell yourself too short, buddy. But you and Matty Jones earlier in the season were, you know, on those world record numbers. But we brought everyone
Yeah.
into the chat here, so just say hi, boys. 3, 2, 1, hi.
Yeah, guys.
I was supposed to try and get all of you saying hi at the same time, but anyway, it's all right. But just wanted to get your general feel of the season, guys. I mean, you guys have kept coming back to race these cars. Nathan, it's been one of those sort of up and down race to race for you where you've had great results and then had moments and you finished P2 in the season, but you keep coming back and have raced every week in these machines. You love it too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the thing about availability is it's also an ability. So that's probably one of my strongest suits. I was able to have my poor rounds be drop rounds, whereas others who didn't come to the race one week get the zero for there, and then have a poor round and down the standings. And yeah, I feel for some of the people who through mechanical issues or whatever else couldn't make all the seasons. But yeah,
well, Dave's been he's been with us in
Dave.
spirit, so he's been on the chat and watching the YouTube stream, so he's still here in spirit.
Yeah,
Hopefully he gets his wheel fixed soon.
Yeah, I was definitely worried about him turning up this weekend and yeah, taking the spot from me. So yeah, it's worked out. But yeah, I'll echo what Scott said. These are great fun ones to sort of start. Yeah, getting a. You know, and I don't have it. Obviously, I don't have it. There's some tracks I don't. I qualify. I finish a lot higher than I qualify because I don't have the single lap pace, and then there's some tracks where I can go quick, but I'm usually going around with bent wings in the race. Yeah, so it's very rewarding when you can get it.
Well, that's it, buddy. I'll have a chat to a couple of the other boys before we come back and let you guys talk about your sponsors and all that sort of stuff. So we do have Dean and Stephen Sinkovich in here. What happened, Stephen? You're ahead of him. I had your money on you. Oh, no, you did finish it. No, you didn't. You did let him through on the last lap or something.
Team orders, mate. Team orders. Could have been some team orders there, mate. Could have been. It's a shame you didn't have it on slow motion replay as we crossed the finish line because it was like a bee's hair in it at the end.
All right. So bit of brotherly love there, maybe.
Yeah.
I think Toddy was trying to do the maths before Tyson, and I think he finished 12 points behind Dean. So that little bit of team tactics made a difference of 6 points.
Oh, sorry, Tice. Oh, I'm really sorry. Better luck next time, Tice.
I've got to join a team next season.
I'm wondering if you guys dragged me up into the room because it was my highest finish for the year.
Oh, P6 for the season. Yeah. Look, man, you've been coming and driving these cars. I've had a bit of experience driving them myself, so I know that they can be a handful from time to time. And then you've got these quick guys in your mirrors, and they keep spinning, ended up behind you and putting pressure back on you again, buddy.
Yeah, these guys are absolutely unbelievable. The brain just, you can't fathom how fast these dudes are.
It's insane, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad enough that you got the Scott. He's not even an alien, mate. He's a friggin' Martian. And then you got the other Callahan as well, and then you got Varney popping up tonight as well. And then Tyson pretends to be fast, and then he's sitting in fourth as well. And then seriously, I think I was 4 to 5 seconds slower than everyone tonight. And it's usually I'm at least 2 to 3 seconds slower. So tonight was a big gap.
Mate, I've got a very shameful thing to admit as well. Like every week I go out in the Radicals, and I haven't said this all season. Every week I go out in the Radicals and I try and do some laps, and I'm like, yeah, I did a really good lap. Every week I get in, and you guys are at least 10 seconds faster than me. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like, that's just put it in perspective how quick these guys really are. And, not discounting yourself as well, mate. Like you're very quick yourself, so you don't have to downtrod yourself a little bit.
I'm the league blue flag specialist, mate, and that's all there is to it. I am the SRW blue flag specialist. I reckon I'm going to go on my livery.
Bluey, eh?
I'm going to put a blue flag on the back of my livery for the rest of the next season, so that it's just standard. The iRacing doesn't need to do it for me anymore.
Well, Tyson, you were a latecomer to the series, buddy, and almost snapped P3 in the championship. But what did you find about these cars? It's just a fun thing to drive?
Yeah, first off, just a big shout out to all the admins, especially big J-Mac, who's going to be leaving us at the end of the season for all the hosting he does and all the stuff he does behind the scenes. We wouldn't be here racing without him. But yeah, for these cars, I saw the numbers and I thought, why not have a crack? Jumped in, and I shouldn't have jumped in, but they're a fun car. It was something else. I enjoyed it. It took me 2 races to go, oh, there's cold tyres. They actually will spin you. But apart from that,
I felt the first 2 races.
Yeah, I felt it too because I wasn't there. But
no, the first 2 races you were in, I felt those 2 races.
Oh yeah, when the wind passed, yeah, that's right, yeah. But it was joining these things, Scotty races them all the time. I don't think I've ever turned a lap in it, and then to do this, I was pretty happy to finish 4th in the championship, I think overall or something. But I'll take it, first time.
4th.
Well, it just goes to show that, although we talk about these cars being difficult sometimes, those same driving principles apply. So, if you're quick in one car, then you can translate those skills over. I think I liked about the V8 Radical was that you had to blip on the shift. So sort of doing the same thing I would be doing in the V8 supercar. So.
Yeah, but this engine is 10 times easier to blow.
Is that what happened? You blew it up with was that a shift playing up on your wheel again?
So I jumped on the grid. I was all good to go. Harry would literally tell you I'm driving, and then all of a sudden down the back straight, I couldn't get out of 4th gear and going, it's not shifting up, Harry. And it's not shifting up. I'm trying to shift. I'm hitting it. I try to shift down. I try to hit the tow button. I try to hit the push to talk button. Every single button on my wheel failed. Like the wheel
Oh,
just
no.
literally failed.
That I
I
could
thought you were
that
just
could
letting me
test
through,
out,
Tyson, so I could have some fun with Nathan.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. You know that. I would never let you through.
Yeah, I could.
He,
I could
he
test
proved
it-
that
I could
at,
test it
at
out for the
Daytona,
record,
didn't he?
yeah.
He wasn't going to let you through.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
and
can-
it
I can
failed.
vouch
If
for
it wasn't for me being quick and smart on my brain, going, "Oh, I've got to grab another wheel," so I jumped out of my seat, ran to another wheel, and screwed it straight on. And again, thanks to the race control for not disqualifying me because they were going to, and gave me that extra couple of seconds to get my
I
wheel
was
on.
pushing for it, mate. I was pushing for it because I wanted to finish fifth. I thought this is my chance to finish fifth.
We've got a protest pending. No.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Oh, awesome. Alrighty, so we'll get to the end of our broadcast tonight, guys. So first, Scotty Cal with another win, mate. You got anyone you want to do a shout out to? We know you got to get you into a team. Perhaps I might know of a team that's interested, but I'll get in trouble.
We're already in
Next time.
conversation about
Yeah, I thought someone else
Scotty-
would have poached you by
Scotty
now.
Racing for
I'm being
SRW.
wooed. Yeah, I send the gift baskets through to me. No, no. I'd just like to thank me and Dave and like all yous guys. I mean, this whole league is just brilliant, and especially yous guys doing the broadcast too. I mean, just all round, everyone's a legend.
Awesome, mate. Well, it's been
Flattery
a pleasure to
gets
have
you
you with
everywhere,
us. We
mate.
just need to either find a way to put some anchors on that car or see if we can get a few of the other fast boys to come in and give you a bit of a run for your money.
Yeah, I mean, tips, guys, get in practice and fly off the road everywhere, and that way you'll work the limits out. If you're not flying off the road, then you're not going quick enough.
So you basically say and go full send and then work back from there.
I
Yeah.
do. That's what I do in practice. New track, I fly off the track everywhere and slowly dial it back. Because you can
Awesome.
actually go a lot faster around these corners than what you think.
Okay.
Well, I
you
was
just
surprised
spend
you
a
were
lot of
lifting in
time
the
on the grass.
carousel there.
Oh, yeah, carousel, you have to lift while you feather the throttle a little bit. But, I mean, yeah, you get to know where you can push it and where you can't.
Awesome stuff and another great drive, buddy. P1, and I think you've just about finished P1 in it almost every race you've started. So,
Except for last week.
hopefully,
Yeah, Tyson got last week.
But Scotty
mate,
still
thanks,
can
Scotty.
use
Hand it
you
to
can
him.
use last week as the drop round. So Scotty and Dean.
No,
have-
I already had my 2 drop rounds
Oh,
done.
did you?
Yeah,
Okay, cool. Sorry, numbers
Oh.
I
lying to
still
me.
scored
Sorry.
more points than him because I got fastest lap and a clean race. So
Oh,
I
there you go.
outscored him in points.
I see.
Awesome
Sneaky,
stuff.
sneaky, eh?
Sneaky.
All right, well, Nathan Verney, locked on racing buddy, P2 tonight. We know you were trying to keep up with Scotty there, and he was just driving fast, mate. It was just on the limit to stay with him.
Yeah, I knew my weakness in this track is basically the corner with the Corvette bridge going up the hill. Is that turn 5 maybe?
Yep.
Yeah, just had so many bad experiences at that corner that I'm overly cautious, and I was happy that I think Scott recognised and wasn't really right at the back of me going up there, but yeah, once he got past and went up that the first time, he just pulled out of the area where I get a good enough tow. And look, I mean, it just shows how good he is because no off tracks, fastest lap basically every race. I was really struggling to mentally and physically to put in the pace. I could do it for the first 8 or so laps, and then but he just kept going the whole race. So yeah, it's credit to him. It's really really good to see some of these quick guys up really close and see how they go. So
Well, they drive us to chase them harder too, buddy. So, and as Scotty said, you've got to sort of test those limits to be able to find them and push that barrier a bit further. But for the Locked On boys, we know you guys have got some great sponsors out there. So just let us know who's giving you all the love and support.
yeah, thanks to the Locked On iRacing podcast and Brewster Coffee. We're there to find good coffee in your local area.
Awesome, buddy. Well, it's awesome. It's great to have you with us each week, and we know that you've given us some great moments and some not so great moments that are going to be, saved on the internet for the entirety of history, buddy. So, no, it's great to have you with us, man, and hope to see you boys back for the next season. All right, so P3, Tyson McAvoy from Performance Sim Racing, buddy, managed to stay ahead of Stephen and Dean, and even after your big moment. But we know that we've got some new sponsors on board and that as well, buddy, so I'll let you spruik them.
Yeah, first off, I just want to say to Dodsy, he's in with us, that he was giving me numbers on that last. I had that spin, I hit the wall. He gave me numbers which decided me getting P4 or P3. So I decided to stay out. He gave me some pretty good numbers that would have put me behind with a faster pair because how long the pit lane is. So kudos to Dodsy for that. He wouldn't be here without a good number and all the stuff he did tonight and last week and the previous races. So, but yeah, to sponsors.
Hi, Harry. Oh, before you do that, say hi, Harry. You're in the chat.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah, Harry can do the sponsors.
Oh golly.
Oh,
golly, now the pressure's on me. All right. Firstly, to our sponsors. First off, we'll start off with Toyo Sim. Obviously, they're a direct drive wheel-based company with cameras direct drive. If you want to get a good deal, use our discount code PSR5 off. Western Motor Group, Too Easy Finance, Tyson Bet. I'm not sure if that's a sponsor, but I'll put that in anyway. Hashtag Talk to Me Bro, which is a men's mental health initiative. Parramatta
one more
Isuzu.
sponsor you're missing.
Parramatta Isuzu Utes. There you go. Parramatta Isuzu Utes.
Yeah, you're leaving it out. Of course, that's all right, buddy.
Night Rider Designs and Cowie Music.
There we go. Thanks. Awesome. Well, it was great having you all with us. Toddy, you got anything to say to the boys before we wrap it all up? Third in the championship, shout out for Dean. That's right. We haven't even talked to Dean. I did ask him the question, and then I think Stephen jumped over and told us about his night.
Thanks, Shibby. Thanks, Shibby. You're a champion, mate. You are the
come
best,
on.
mate.
I had a bit of air there. I was about to say something.
Oh, God. Getting too much love in this room at the moment. But yes, Dean, P3 in the championship, buddy.
Yeah, you've got to be in it to win it, don't you? So that's all it is, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah, mate. Bradbury at the end of the season.
That's
good on you,
all it was, mate. That's all it was. And I'll thank our sponsors, Mr. John Girling, DSL Welding, Promo Dept.
Paul Girling.
Sorry, did I say Paul?
You said John. Paul Girling.
Apologies, John. Thanks, Paul. Also, DragonRC as well. So, and obviously the group of guys always that come into race every week. We thank you for turning up each week, and it's a joy. I have a ball in this car. It's fantastic. And broadcasting, boys, as usual, fantastic job. Well done again. I think you should leave Steve in the broadcast team with you. He did a good job yesterday, and get him out of the car. So, and thank you.
It was a good ring in. Good ring in yesterday.
Yeah, definitely. So, thank you very much. Shibby in the background, producing wise. Nobody hears you very often, but well done, mate. You're a gun. Superstar. You too, Tony, on your days as well.
That's stuff.
Well, thanks for that, buddy, and well done on your P3.
Yeah,
so that will bring us to the end of our coverage of the V8 Radical.
Interrupt you for 1 second.
Stephen.
Firecracker in the background.
There is. We may be saving this series. We're talking about it in the background because a lot of passionate people love this series, including myself, and hopefully we'll get some more drivers coming across for it. So watch this space. We're doing the best we can to get it off the ground. And I'd like to have a big shout out to J-Mac as well, mate. He's going to be sorely missed in the admin and with us and our chitter chatter and our fun, but he will still be around. He'll still be racing for Team SRW in some of the events here, and we'll be still doing events, and he'll be still doing the ovals. So he will still be around in the place, and make sure you give him a heap of shit when you see him.
Will do, boys. It is awesome, and yeah, just sorry to see you go, J-Mac, but it's great to see you not leaving us totally. Awesome. Well, as I did begin to say and was politely interrupted, which was nice, Um,
I'm
Well,
going to
they got-
interrupt you, Kelly.
oh,
before
here
you
we
do
go.
that.
Yep, sure you can. Just to say hi or just to interrupt me?
No, you're good now. You can speak.
Okay, that's what I thought. Clowns. We got clowns here. This is why you guys want to come and race with us, because we race against clowns, you know? So,
Yeah. Put your pants on. Put your big boy pants on and get on. I just wanted to
That's it.
say a little shout out to
Sure,
Nathan Verney.
Tony.
actually.
Everyone else has interrupted me, so go for it, buddy.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah. Nathan Verney, big shout out to you, mate. The improvements we've seen with season 1 and now season 2 as well. Awesome, man. And it's always a roller coaster when you're racing and stuff like that. But I think for me, you're my pick of the season for most improved, and you finished the season really strong. So that was all I really wanted to say. So good on you, bro.
Yeah, thanks.
Patting you back, Nate.
Yeah, 10th's the second. I think 10th's in the first race.
Take-
Yeah, so good.
Take
Cheers.
a first
Awesome.
from that, because including the racing that you've done, Cowie, in the Super 2 program for our team as well, and not just in the and even in the com box as well. You've really stepped up again, mate. So well done.
Oh, it's not about me. I'm just talking about it tonight, but thanks, boys.
I'd just like
All
to
right, can
interrupt
I
you
wrap this
just
thing up,
before you
or do we want to
finish.
keep chatting for a bit
No,
longer?
I just want to interrupt. I just need to get an interrupt in as well. My comms are
Okay,
actually on
Nathan.
now, so
Yep.
people can hear me. So I just love to give a huge shout out to all the viewers that are stuck with us through all this absolute mumbling that's been going on for the last 20 minutes.
Oh, ouch. We're trying to wrap up the season. Come on, we've got the right
That's
to mumble
exactly
a little bit,
right.
don't we?
Well, we
As
wanted
Chef-
to get
as
all
Chef
of the
Buddy would
drivers
say,
in
much
and
love.
Yeah,
have a
much
chat,
love,
that's it.
legends. Come on.
Alrighty, well, that will bring us to the end of round 10 of our SRW V8 Radical American Invasion series. It's been great having you all with us, all the drivers here, all of the viewers out there, even the drivers that have had things happen, life gets in the way, stuff breaks. But we loved having you all with us, and even the news where it looks like we might be saving this series, which is great. So I'll get to talk about it all again, hopefully next season, and we get bigger and better fields. But please, as always, show us your love and support by hitting the subscribe button, that like button, notifications, bell icon, all that sort of stuff, so that you don't miss out on any of the action here at SRW TV. On behalf of the management and broadcast team, even though most of them have already said their piece in this chat, Toddy on comms, Shibby behind the scenes, this is Cowie signing off, saying good night, and we look forward to seeing you next time on SRW TV.
See you
Much
tomorrow
love,
night.
legends.
for the
Keep safe.
F3s.